Welcome guys to the Meet Damien live stream. I am Damien, and today's live stream we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So that Ethereum almost came up to $5,000 this weekend. We're going to be talking about Ethereum as well. I'll also be doing some user requests here on your favorite cryptocurrencies and stocks. Stock market is trading today, currently right now. So we can take a look at any stocks that you guys have here on the charts. But we like to start off with Bitcoin first, and then we start getting into the other assets, the other cryptocurrencies and stocks out there. But yeah, let me just do a quick sound check, make sure I turn on that mic, because you never know. All right, I can hear myself. All right, cool. And we'll get started here. All right, so we're looking right now at Bitcoin on the daily chart here. Bitcoin currently trading at $112,600, and it pretty much erased all the gains that we made here on Friday. This green candle here on Friday, where we went up like 3.94% on Bitcoin. We actually started Friday, August 22nd here at $112,480. Okay, and then we got as high as about 117,000. And then we ended the day near 117 at like 116,908, only for us to lose some of that price action here on Saturday, and then lose some more on Sunday as a Bitcoin whale that has not moved any of their Bitcoin in over 7 years decided to sell their Bitcoin and then get right into Ethereum, probably because they saw Ethereum going up to like $5,000. They wanted a piece of that juicy action as well for Ethereum, and they violently sold their Bitcoin just to get into Ethereum on the same day, and that caused this crazy price action that we got here on Sunday, where we came down to $110,600 on Bitcoin, and then we finished the day at $113,478. But now here we are. We're kind of starting off Monday here on a bad note as well, where we started off at 113,000, but we came right down to 110,500 all over again, and we're kind of like playing around and dancing around this 50-day moving average. This green line right here is acting as support for now. That green line is actually hovering around $111,500 Bitcoin. So we've actually lost the green line. We lost that 50-day moving average, only for us to come right back up above it. So we're getting some candle wicks down to that area here for Bitcoin, and this is a level that we've been on the lookout for, this $111,400 Bitcoin, because if you measure from where Bitcoin was at $98,000 as your swing low back here on June 22nd to the highs that we made here at $124,500 Bitcoin, it gives us this Fibonacci to look at. And we were sitting pretty, hovering above the 618 Fibonacci number here at $114,500. But I have said in previous live streams that if we were to go to the downside, that we might actually come visit the $111,400 area at 0.5 retracement. And sure enough, we have the last couple of days here on Bitcoin. Okay. Some people have been asking what are some of the support zones if we lose the support that we're at right now. Like what is the support below us? And that would be the 0.32 retracement at $108,300. If Bitcoin was to continue on this bearish trend here, going to lower prices, after we just had the Federal Reserve say that they're pretty much going to lower interest rates in September. If we were to go down a little bit further than where we are right now, then we're looking at Bitcoin coming down to this $108,000 level. That's your 0.32 retracement. Even stronger support would be at this 0.236 retracement at $104,500, which is where that 100-day, that blue line is sitting at. That 100-day moving average would act as support if we were to come down for any reason down to that level. I would expect a lot of support at that area. Now that's going to hurt the altcoins. That's not going to be pretty for the altcoins. The altcoins are already getting hit pretty hard with Bitcoin coming down to $112,000 as is. Okay. But I have monitored Bitcoin dominance recently, and Bitcoin dominance is actually holding up pretty. I'm sorry, the altcoins are holding up pretty well against Bitcoin because Bitcoin dominance is coming down, right? It has been coming down the last few days. Now we're starting to see Bitcoin dominance actually catch a bid, right? Bitcoin dominance is actually up today, but the last 3 days Bitcoin dominance has been going down as more money has been pouring into the altcoins versus the going into Bitcoin. Okay, and I have measured a bear flag here that shows us that the dominance for Bitcoin could possibly take us down to about 56%. You have to excuse me here. My computer is acting a little bit slow right now today. But yeah, that blue number right there, 56.82%, is what we're targeting for Bitcoin dominance. And if we were to continue on this trend, the way we've been going along with this trend line here, this Bitcoin dominance could get to 56.82% by the end of August. Okay, August 30th. This blue date here. Okay, so we're looking at by the end of the month, Bitcoin dominance might go down a little bit more, down a couple of percent from where it is to like from 58% down to 56%. All right, so we're still looking for that on Bitcoin dominance. Now today we're actually getting a green day for Bitcoin dominance. Maybe some people are getting shaken out of their altcoin positions right now. But with that Bitcoin whale that sold, I believe it was like $600 million worth of Bitcoin. He sold it yesterday and got right into Ethereum. With that kind of money, I'm expecting more of that going on in this part of the cycle, where we're going to start seeing some of these Bitcoin whales flip and turn into Ethereum whales, and maybe some of these Ethereum whales flip and turn into like Solana and Sui whales, and we're going to start seeing money start pouring down from the top to the middle to the bottom here, as we see Bitcoin investors start looking for more returns with Ethereum and Solana, and we're going to see Ethereum and Solana whales and investors start dipping their toes into like Sui or Aerodrome Finance or some of these other altcoins where they might be able to squeeze out another extra return here from what they've already had with their investment in the top tier cryptocurrencies out there. All right, so that's Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance, as long as we're below this 200-day moving average, this red line, I could say that we're still in altcoin season. And we'll just see, because I'm loving this trend. As long as we keep going down to lower levels here on Bitcoin dominance, we're gonna continue to be in this altcoin season that we're getting, and more people will be confident putting money into altcoins and putting money to work into altcoins here. Let's go ahead and take a look at Ethereum, which actually had a pretty good weekend this past weekend. Almost threatened to go up to $5,000 here. Okay. We see that Ethereum is trading at $4,614, down 3.5% today. But that's after it already had a pretty good weekend and a good Friday. All right, Friday we saw Ethereum start off at $4,200 and then get as high as like $4,886, which was enough to beat the all-time high back in 2021 when we were in November of 2021. We saw Ethereum as high as 4,867. So we were able to do that on Friday. We showed that it was a possibility to make new all-time highs here. On Saturday was really kind of like a quiet day for Ethereum, but then Sunday was when we were able to see Ethereum get up to 4,955, and that was probably mainly because of that Ethereum whale, or that Bitcoin whale that decided to become an Ethereum whale and sold their Bitcoin to get into Ethereum. Okay. So we saw that, I was ready to put up the thumbnail and do a video if Ethereum hit $5,000, but it didn't. But here we are, we're talking about Ethereum right now, and Ethereum almost at $5,000. I think the $5,000 psychological target might get hit later on this week, especially if Ethereum just continues on with this trend, staying above this 21 exponential moving average, that white line right there. Let's see, if I was to game plan this out here, let me try to do a trend line here for you guys. If we were to continue doing basically this on the 21 EMA. You could expect Ethereum, right, at $5,000. At the very latest, it will probably be sometime in the middle of September. Okay, if we just continue on this trend line here, you know, $5,000 Ethereum looks like it's going to be a thing probably in the second week of September at the latest. It could happen earlier than that. I'm just saying, if we would have maintained this trend line here, the way things are right now, okay, at the very latest, you're looking at a $5,000 Ethereum in the middle of September. Could happen sooner than that. Could happen sooner than that. Okay. Also, might not even happen. Okay, might not even happen if we lose the trend line here. You know, with this 21 EMA here, then we might not see $5,000 Ethereum until Ethereum starts pushing up to higher prices here. But if Ethereum continues doing what it's doing right now, okay, we can have up and down days, but if we continue doing up and down and doing the trend and not losing the trend here, we're looking at a $5,000 Ethereum by the middle of September. Let's see, Josh Shareem just put a comment here. Yo, Damien, why is crypto down? That's a good question that I had to ask myself today. And oh, okay, I see Porky's in here too. So we're still in a bad time of the year for both stocks and crypto. There's this thing called seasonality, and it's still a thing. It happens every time towards the end of August, going into the beginning of September. And you know, even if you listen to the business news channel and you listen to the stock market guys, they'll talk about seasonality, saying that the markets are weak around this time, around September, beginning of September and end of August. And no one really has put like a reason or a theory behind it, but I guess I'll be the first one to say it myself. Right now, college kids are going back to school, and a lot of people take out, you know, student loans, or they get grants to pay for their college kids' tuition. But some of the rich kids out there who own lots of stock, and they possibly own lots of crypto as well, they don't take out student loans to pay for college. They actually sell their stocks to go pay for their college tuition. So I believe it's that. All right, I think that's the main reason why. One of the reasons why, and a reason that they don't really talk about on the business news channel. But I'm gonna say it. You know, it seems like every year around this time, college kids go back to school and they have to sell their stocks to pay for their schooling. And there's usually not that many positive catalysts around this time, so it makes sense, you know, unless we're getting really good earnings report. And we do have an earnings report coming out for Nvidia on Wednesday to be paying attention to. But unless we get like some good earnings from some of the stocks out there, it's really hard to push the markets up around this time of the year. But usually after, you know, probably in the middle of September is when you can expect the markets to do pretty well here. After everybody's done selling their stocks to go pay for college. Okay, that's pretty much what I'm gonna put it towards. But we should be having good days, right? We should. The market is healthy. Okay, we are getting healthy pullbacks and healthy corrections. It's just that there's some seasonality, right? They call it seasonality, but I call it college kids paying their tuition. All right. But yeah, we do have a request here from John 316. He wants to look at Chronos. We're going to look at Chronos. We're also going to look at Solana and Ethereum. I'm sorry, we already looked at Ethereum, but we're going to continue looking at Ethereum here. And then we're going to look at Chronos and Solana and XRP. And then I'll start doing some of these requests. Let me just catch up on the chat here on TikTok. My TikTok guys, I haven't forgotten about you. I am doing a YouTube and a TikTok live stream. If you guys haven't, you guys don't know how I run things here, but I actually do 2 live streams at the same time. And it's just a lot for me to keep up with, but I am trying to get to your comments here and your requests. Let's see, Jesus has joined us in the live chat here on TikTok, and Jesus is asking about silver doing a new world record. I have noticed the price of silver has gone up to, I think, like $39. It was like on Friday. I haven't checked lately, but we could take a look at the price of silver. So let me just write that down, that you want to look at silver because it's making like highs for the year, maybe a new all-time high. Okay, so we'll take a look at silver. I got that as requests. Matthew's asking, are we bullish or bearish on Ethereum? We are bullish on Ethereum as of now. I think Ethereum is going to continue surprising people to the upside here. We just had a Bitcoin whale sell all their Bitcoin just to get into Ethereum. Like, they sold like $500 million or $600 million of Bitcoin yesterday to get into Ethereum. So tell me if that's bullish or bearish. I would say that's pretty bullish for Ethereum. Matthew saying people are predicting it to go down. Predicting which one? Ethereum or just the crypto market in general? All right, let's see. And I'm just trying to catch up on the chat here on my YouTube guys here. Let's see. Josh Shareem is saying Webull stock. Okay, you want me to look at Webull? Okay, we'll take a look at the Webull. Try to fit that in there. And let me just make sure I write down Chronos here as well. And then Josh Shareem says, where do you buy silver and gold exactly? Well, I know I bought some physical gold and silver myself from this company called JM Bullion. You can look up the website, JM Bullion. Also, there's another exchange, another gold and silver place that you can buy gold and silver from on the internet that I trust, and that's called Muddy Metals Exchange. So there's a couple of places to go on the web, and I feel like those are better than going to your local dealer. I mean, the benefit of going to your local dealer is that you'll be able to buy and sell silver right then and there and get the cash up front. But they don't give you the best prices. The best prices I've noticed is online. When you go to like JM Bullion, they'll send the silver coins to you through the mail and mail it right to your address. Okay. And then, you know, if you got to sell it back to them, you would package it up and put it in a box, and you would sell it to them. And they give the best prices too when you try to sell it to them as well. That's why I don't really do gold and silver jewelers or jewelry shops, because they just don't give you the best prices from what I noticed. Okay, and then they will give you better prices, but you got to give them a lot of gold and a lot of silver for them to justify taking it off of you. But if you gotta, like, you know, sell like maybe 10 or 20 coins or whatever, I would go with JM Bullion. Yeah, JM Bullion or Muddy Metals Exchange. It's another good one. All right, Matthew's asking if it is Ethereum. No, somebody else is asking, is Ethereum dying? Ethereum is not dying. Okay, let me get back into Ethereum here. We'll get the daily time frame here. I have a buy zone here that I identify that if Ethereum was to get down to like $3,800, down to like $4,200, that's a good buy zone area. We did kind of get into that buy zone area for Ethereum around like Tuesday and Wednesday this past week here. And that was the time to buy, because we didn't stay in that buy zone for too long before we launched up the higher prices here on Friday. Okay. But I think if you can get Ethereum lower, right? Lower than where we are right now. If you could get Ethereum lower than $4,400, you're probably doing pretty well for yourself as far as like getting a relatively cheap price on Ethereum, because this trend line, right? If we maintain this 21 EMA, this 21 EMA is saying that we're probably not going to see Ethereum go down if we maintain this trend line, and Ethereum is going to continue climbing up. And I know you guys want to know when $5,000. I think second week of September at the latest. It could happen earlier, but we're looking at like a $5,000 Ethereum second week of September. And then look at the Fibonacci here that I've drawn, you know, from the levels at $1,400 Ethereum up to like 4,100 Ethereum. We do have a 1618 that says we could get to Ethereum we could get a $5,800 price for Ethereum later on in 2025. And then we have the 2618 saying that we could see an $8,500 Ethereum possibly later on in 2025. That's the target that I'm looking for Ethereum. I think a lot of Ethereum investors that have bought, you know, below $4,000 and some that bought, you know, lower than that, they're going to see Ethereum at $8,000, and they're probably going to click the sell button to basically cash in on doubling their money. going from 4,000 to 8,000. Okay, but we also do have a 3618 saying that the $11,000 Ethereum could be a possibility, but I don't know if that's going to happen this year or maybe beginning of 2026. But I think you know, that's what the charts are saying. The Fibonacci says that is a possibility here. I think it's a stretch, but could be a possibility here. Okay, for Ethereum. All right. But yeah, going down to lower prices here for Ethereum. I mean, obviously 4,100 was the highs for the year until we actually beat it. We beat through that price this past month here. But $4,100 Ethereum could still be a good buy zone as well. And that's still in my buy Ethereum area, buy zone. Anywhere between $3,800 to $4,200. I think you should try to buy some Ethereum if that's what you're inclined to do so here. But to be honest with you guys, we're getting to the point. I know some people say super cycle, but I think we're at the point now in this cryptocurrency cycle that we're in, where I'm going to start recommending people to start selling their crypto, especially as we start going to higher prices here. I cannot be saying that, you know, now is a good time to be buying crypto, because if you haven't bought it already, the higher we go, the more at risk you are to lose your money as if we do come down and correct, you know. Because like, look, if we had Ethereum just get right back to the 50-day moving average, that 50-day moving average for Ethereum is at 3,100. Okay, that green line. All right, and that's going to be a 25, maybe a 30% haircut from where we are right now. That's why I say, you know, as we start going into the cycle, further into the cycle here, I'm not going to be recommending buying crypto unless, you know, you're buying near the lows. Like I would not be advocating buying Ethereum unless you already have Ethereum and you're just trying to add to your position here. But if you're a new cryptocurrency investor, you should probably be looking at something that hasn't run up besides Ethereum here. Okay. And even then, like the further you go down to like the cryptocurrencies that haven't had a run down to higher prices, you start to go down the risk curve of like, now it's getting riskier as you get into like these altcoins and meme coins that haven't been around as long as Ethereum. So it's getting a little bit riskier to say, yeah, you should be buying crypto right now. But yeah, if you're inclined to do so, you could do so. You know, it's your money. This is not financial advice, but I'm saying, like, if you were to buy Ethereum right now, right, and we come down to that 50-day moving average, that green line, you're gonna lose 35% of your money. And if you're okay with that, then maybe crypto's for you. But if you're not okay with that, you know, if Ethereum comes down to that 50-day moving average, that green line, it's gonna hurt, and you're probably gonna panic. You're gonna sell at $3,500, at $3,000 Ethereum, and then maybe Ethereum comes back to $4,800 again, and you're gonna be, oh my god, I lost a third of my money, and now I gotta buy Ethereum again at higher prices. So I'm advocating for people to start selling their crypto as we go into the end of this year. And if you're new to the game, you know, maybe start off with Bitcoin, learn what Bitcoin is and what it can do for you, and try to learn about these altcoins as best as you can. But don't go full 100% into like Ethereum and think like, you know, you're gonna triple or quadruple your money in like a month or two. Because although you might, the greed factor is gonna come in, and you're gonna think you can just continue being lucky, which is what you are at that point. You're going to continue being lucky, and you're going to think you can then quadruple your money again after you already quadrupled your money. And it doesn't work that way. Not with these assets, not with this crypto. It might work temporarily, but it's not going to work all the time. Anyways, yeah, Ethereum could drop down to $3,100 to the 50-day moving average if we were to get very bearish. But I know there's some support zones here that would prevent us dropping down like a rock like that. And as long as we maintain this uptrend, I think we'll be fine with Ethereum. All right, moving on from Ethereum, we'll take a look at Chronos. And then we'll look at the price of silver, and then we'll look at Webull, because those are some interesting requests that we got. So let's get into Chronos here, because my buddy John316 has said that Chronos is actually up today, so I'm a little bit curious to see if that's the case. And we do have Kronos currently trading at 16 cents, up 2.87% today. Maintaining the uptrend that I've spotted here, going back to like the middle of July. So that's good to see here. And yeah, Kronos, why are you going up when everybody else is going down? Are you trying to be different? Are you trying to be cooler than the cool kids here? Let's see. I still think, you know, I have done some previous Fibonacci analysis here, measuring from 14.5 cents here down to the lows here at 8 cents. And we're still targeting a 1272 fib extension level here at like 16, almost 17 cents here, 0.168 cents. But the next target after that is going to be your take profit target at 19 cents, okay, which is your 1618 fib extension level here. I think Kronos might be able to do that in the future if it just maintains this uptrend. I like the fact that you're making higher lows and higher highs on the daily time frame here. So I think the trend is the trend is your friend as of now, okay? And that 19 cent target, which is what we're ultimately targeting for Kronos here, that's confluent with the prices that we've seen back here in November and December of 2024. Those people that bought here and have endured all this pain of being underwater for like the entire year here, they're probably going to want to click the sell button just to break even at 19 cents. So you can go join them as well and click the sell button at 19 cents if you're already in Kronos right now. If you're not in Kronos, then going from like what, 16 cents to 19 cents, right? How much would that get you for a gain here? Jeez, my computer. All right, there we go. That's about a 20% gain. You can still get eke out like a 20% gain on your Kronos if you're just getting in the Kronos right now and you don't have it, or if you already have it and you want to continue pushing up to higher prices. I think that 19 cent level is going to be a significant level of resistance for you to get past. But once you do, it could be off to the races again for Kronos. We do have a 2618 level here that says Kronos can get up to like 26 cents, and that's their take profit target too, which I've already identified as an area that you should think about selling your Kronos if you haven't done so already. And that was like basically the price that Kronos was trading at when it first came on to Coinbase Exchange at like November of 2021. We saw it come on at 27 cents, and we did see Kronos go to higher prices here. Jeez, my I don't know what I need to do here with my Wi-Fi, but my computer is just freezing up here every now and then. But yeah, we have seen Kronos go to higher prices at like 70 cents back in November of 2021. But I don't know if that's gonna happen again. I don't think you should be getting that greedy. I think 19 and 26 cents seems like some healthy targets where you're not being greedy, and it's still a possibility here for Kronos to get up to. All right, but if Kronos starts losing its momentum here, as I start to zoom back in on the daily time frame here, if Kronos does start to lose the momentum here, and if we make a lower high compared to what we did here back in July, then yeah, we could come back and revisit the 786 retracement at 0.13 pennies here, about 13.5 cents. That could be an area for you to possibly scoop up some cheaper Kronos if you're lucky enough to do so. We also have the 618 Fibonacci number at 0.123 pennies here. Could be another area where you can scoop up some cheaper Kronos. But I'm liking the fact that Kronos is in an uptrend. You're making higher lows, higher highs, and I just think you're on your way to 17 cents, 19 cents in the future here for Kronos. John316 is making jokes saying we should buy Damien coin here. Let's see. Forky, what did you say here? Forky says he loves the brain rot that is in this world. Ethereum hits all-time high. And first question, is it dying? Yeah. One of my TikTok guys is wondering if it's dying. I think Ethereum is just getting started. It's about to go in. I mean, it kind of already did go into price discovery mode this weekend, but we're probably going to see some more price discovery going into next month for Ethereum. where I think a lot of Ethereum investors, and I know some of them are like my brother's an Ethereum investor. I have a friend of mine that's an Ethereum investor, and they're not big into crypto like me and some other people here, especially you guys that show up to the live streams. But they're now looking at, you know, Ethereum at all-time highs, and they're having to answer a question for themselves. Do they sell Ethereum at all-time highs right now? Some of them even forgot their passwords to get into their accounts to even sell their Ethereum. But when they do, like, there's going to be some resistance. So Ethereum is getting some resistance right now from people who are selling Ethereum because they're thinking this is the all-time high. But then some people are now wondering, you know, because they've seen past cycles before where Ethereum could like double and triple in price after getting past its previous all-time high. They're now wondering, you know, can they hold on to Ethereum and see Ethereum go to $10,000 before they hit the sell button? Okay, so I think that's what's going to happen between now and then is, yeah, right now we're getting some people selling Ethereum because Ethereum at all-time highs. Wow. Some people have made a lot of money. But then some people are going to just stick around and see what it can do next. So there's not going to be that much selling pressure because the ones that have not sold their Ethereum, they're probably going to stick around to see if Ethereum can get to like 10 grand. Okay. So that's why we enter price discovery mode, and we just don't know like when are people going to sell Ethereum. But I think $5,800 for Ethereum, if I go right back to it, that was a Fibonacci number for us to look for. Just shy of $6,000. There could be some significant resistance at that level because that's your 1618 for Ethereum. All right, now moving on from Ethereum and Kronos, let's go take a look at silver because I guess that's getting some people's attention here. I gotta do this, yep, alright. Okay, here we go. Price of silver. Currently trading at $38.72. Let's see, was it yesterday? Yo, no, it was Friday. We saw a price of silver get up to like $39. That's actually wasn't as high as what it did back here in July. We actually did see $39 silver already. Okay, but I guess some people are getting excited again because we're getting close to that $40 number for silver. Let me get rid of some of this previous analysis here. I'm going to have to redraw some fibs here. But yeah, the price of silver is, I mean, far away from the moving averages on the daily time frame here. The 50-day moving average is at $35.26. That could be a level that silver comes down to if for some reason we lose our uptrend here and we decide to go to lower prices on silver. That could be where you get a nice support area at $35. Could be an area where you can get some cheaper silver at that $35 area. That's also kind of almost confluent with like the tops here in October of 2024 and also here in March of 2025 where we saw $34.50 silver act as resistance. So I guess I'll just mark that off on the chart here that we could see some support at this level, $34.60 here. That could be a support area for silver if it does come down to lower prices. And then the 50-day is around that area as well. And I'm sure the 100-day will catch up and get up to that area. So I think $34, $35 is a good area to scoop up some cheap silver if you're lucky enough to get it at that price. I'm not sure if we're going to lose this uptrend because we are kind of in an uptrend right now with silver. Silver would have to lose this uptrend, this yellow line here, for you to come down to $35. Okay, so you could just mark that on your chart here, just measuring the lows, connecting the lows here that we've already made here back in August and July here. If you lose that uptrend, then you're looking at silver come down to $34, $35 here. Okay, now I'll go ahead and do a Fibonacci analysis here to kind of figure out how much higher could silver go here, going from the swing low to the swing high. Okay, I'll measure from there to there, and we got a 1272 fib extension level that says that we could see silver get up to about $42.56 here. Well, what, $4 away from where we are right now? And then we got a 1618 saying that we could see a $46 silver maybe later on this year going into 2026. And I think the reason why silver would actually get up to that price is because it would get some you know, if we see interest rates go down, it kind of like shows that the United States, the U.S. economy is not as strong as some might think. And also, you know, there might be the bonds, so silver and gold, they usually compete against the bond investors, okay? And if the bond investors aren't getting yield because they're dropping interest rates, then sometimes they just say, screw it, let's go into gold and silver, okay? Because gold and silver will maintain their values here, okay? They don't get paid interest like the bond investors do, but if they're worried about like the United States government actually paying their bills on time, then gold and silver could possibly be a place for them to go to while they wait things out. Okay, so silver could get some bids to higher prices here if they start lowering interest rates, which they said they might actually do here in September. Okay. All right, let's see. Oh, it looks like I lost a few of my TikTok guys. Is it because we're talking about silver now? You guys don't want me talking about silver? Oh, wait a second. It says I kind of lost my connection here. That might be a problem here. How my guys here on YouTube? You guys, can you see me? Can you hear me? Is my stream still good on YouTube? Because I think my TikTok is having some problems here. Let's see. Let me try to reset the connections here. Yeah, I'm gonna turn the VPN off on my phone here. That might be messing things up as well. All right. Hopefully that fixes the TikTok stream here. Oh, nope, I lost the TikTok stream. I gotta go live again. All right, sorry about that. Let's do this again. Let's go live on TikTok. Well, that's a damn shame. I lost my TikTok stream there. But right now we are talking about the price of silver at $38.72. It could get up to like $42 in the near future here. It might even hit $46 here later on in 2025, depending upon how things go with the U.S. economy and what they do with interest rates here. Okay. But yeah, I think silver is on its way up to higher prices here. Just based on, you know, if we maintain this uptrend, you know, we should probably, you know, hit $40 silver, right? Where's $40 silver? At the very latest, we're looking at like maybe November. I know, it doesn't move as fast as crypto does, but we're looking at the very latest, you know, silver being $40 in November of 2025 here. Could happen sooner than that. Depends on what the markets decide to do here. All right, moving on from silver, we'll take a look at Webull. We got Webull stock currently trading at $15.40. Oh wow, I have done previous analysis on this. I even done a Fibonacci. I don't think this is going to be useful anymore. All right, so I'll get rid of that for now. And yeah, I have looked at previous chart work here for Webull. You know, starting in July here, it looks like I identified a parallel channel, a channel in which we were rising to higher prices here for Webull. But it looks like we kind of lost that channel. We actually came down, back tested it a little bit, only for us to then kind of just trade sideways. So I think I can get rid of this for now. That's no longer in play either. And I'll get rid of this for now. I gotta clean up the chart. So we pretty much got like a naked chart here on Webull. And interesting enough, I do not have any moving averages here. I know. There's only the 21 EMA. So this thing has not been trading on the NASDAQ long enough to actually get some moving averages here. That's interesting. The only thing you have is your 21 EMA. So we'll just have to, I mean, I guess we kind of just look at this as like a naked chart. But I can see an uptrend that you're trying to maintain here, maintaining higher lows here. You kind of threatened to lose that uptrend on Friday and Thursday of last week. But Friday we got that little bid to get us back up to higher prices and actually get back into this uptrend again here for Webull. But the other thing that I'm worried about is you kind of are making a downtrend as well with the lower highs. You got a lower high that formed here on August 18th compared to the highs here back on July 24th. So this is looking like, now it's kind of looking like almost like a symmetrical triangle, okay? And symmetrical triangles, they can break out to the upside or the downside, or you could just go sideways, okay? But this is what you have as a trader. You know, you could buy when you get down to the bottom of the uptrend here, and you would sell when you get close to the downtrend here, right? When you get to the top of this symmetrical triangle, you can sell, and you just keep on buying and selling and ping pong and back and forth until this thing makes a decision. And it looks like you'll get some resolution around the middle of September. Probably when they decide to cut interest rates is when you get some resolution for Webull. And if we just maintain this uptrend and we get an interest rate cut, then yeah, I think this thing will go up to higher prices here, okay? If we don't get an interest rate cut, we could go down to lower prices and lose the uptrend, or we could just go sideways out of frustration for everybody involved here. Appreciate you guys hitting the like here. I see Idris is in the chat. Thank you for the like there, Idris. Thank you, thank you. Let's see, you have a request? Did you say you want to look at the Sahara and Vine? Alright, let me go ahead and write those things down here. Sahara and Vine. I did want to look at Solana and those two first, and then look at Solana and XRP. Appreciate the requests. Thank you for coming on to the live stream. Thank you, thank you. I don't know if Porky's in the chat, but I'm gonna try to give you a shout out here at some point. But these guys are keeping me busy with requests right now. But I'll try to do a shout out sooner rather than later here for you. Thank you for coming on to the live stream here, Porky. If you're there, I know you might be listening and you have your kids and keeping you busy, or you might be at the gym with a client or whatever. But thank you, Porky, for coming out to the live stream. We'll give a shout out to you sooner rather than later here. All right, but yeah, let me just finish up here with Webull. Webull, you are in an uptrend, but you also got this downtrend, and I don't really have any movement averages to be using here. I could quickly do a Fibonacci to see, you know, measuring from the swing high here down to this swing low here, and let's see what that gives us here to work with. You got your levels here. Your 0.236 retracement got respected here back on August 1st. Then you came up and you got rejected off the 0.786 retracement here on July 18th. Only if you didn't come back down. You almost came back to the 0.236 retracement again, but not really. And now you're kind of like hanging out near the 0.5 retracement at $15.24. I think you're getting a nice, solid, fair price here for Webull at this price of $15.36. Anything lower than that, you should try to strongly consider buying, especially if you're still in the uptrend here. And then if you do go to higher prices here, you're targeting $18 if you're a day trader or a swing trader as your first target. $18.32 here. Back in July 24th. But if you're in it for a longer term and you want to push it to higher prices, then you get the 1272 fib extension saying that $20 is probably a level that people might consider clicking the sell button. And then also $22.16 is your 1618 on Webull. That could be another area where people click the sell button as well. Alright. Moving on from Webull. Let me give a quick shout out here to my buddy I'm sorry. Trade Intuition is a good guy to take a look at. He's still going live right now on YouTube. He might actually show up in the live stream here. He goes live between 12 to 2 p.m., which is the same time that I do. on Mondays through Fridays. But I also want to give out a shout out to Porky Founder. He's another good YouTuber and crypto analyst. He also does stocks as well, and he's a great guy to listen to. He's got about almost 2,000 subscribers here, 1.6 thousand subscribers. He goes live usually at nighttime for the East Coast guys. He goes live around like 9 or 10 p.m. Eastern time, so you might be able to catch the stream later on today. Okay, but he does videos about Bitcoin and Ethereum, Solana. Talks about the jobs data when it gets released. He also has some YouTube shorts here about Sui and Costco, Apple stock. He does it all. And when I listen to his live streams, he doesn't have music like me. So if you don't like music, then maybe this might be the guy to get your TA from. Okay. But the great thing I like about Porky is he is funny. He is funny to listen to. So he makes up for the lack of music with some serious humor, some very good humor. He'll make you laugh even when he's not even trying to, and I like that about Porky. Anyways, moving on from the shout outs, we'll go to Sahara. I believe that's a cryptocurrency, right? That's what you want me to look at? Sahara USDT. We'll get the data off the Binance exchange here. I do have a question in the chat from Simon. Simon's asking, why is Ethereum pumping this month? Institutional buy-in, and Jackson Hole indicated dovish flow. So Ethereum is pumping because it does have institutional buying. And now you're starting to get some Bitcoin whales. Yesterday we had a Bitcoin whale sell $600 million worth of Bitcoin to go buy Ethereum the same day. So now the whales are starting to buy Ethereum. Like, you're getting Bitcoin whales that are now turning themselves into Ethereum whales. So that helps explain why Ethereum is going up in price here. Alright, let me just take a look at something real quick here. Alright. Okay. So, Sahara. Currently trading at 0.087 pennies. Up slightly today, even though most things are down. That's good to see. Some strength there. And what do we have here for Sahara? I don't really have that many moving averages. This thing hasn't been trading long enough. But you do have a 21 exponential moving average, that white line here. Looks like it first started trading on Binance on June 26th. And it's going sideways. So I guess you could just kind of treat this as a bull flag, but it's really not doing much. You had, out of nowhere, you just came up 70% on July 23rd, then to just lose 30% of that move the next day on July 24th. So that's like a little like pump and dump action there. Doesn't really help anybody. Probably hurts people more than it helps. But the thing I can do there is I can just do a fib retracement from there down to the lows here. And now you can just see that, you know, Sahara is currently trading at the 0.236 retracement, which is a very deep retracement to be at. But if Sahara was to cast some bids here, I would expect maybe some resistance at that 10 cent level, 11 cent level. That's your 0.382 retracement. But if Sahara does get some more bids here, the more likely level for it to retrace back to is this 618 golden pocket level at 13 cents, 13 and 0.133 pennies. This is a level that I think should be your take profit target for Sahara, and if it does that for you, Idris, because I know you requested this, you'll get a 50% move up in price from where you are right now. So I think that's a pretty solid gain for cryptocurrencies. And that could happen, you know, I mean, look at this. It could happen in one day, the way this thing's been trading, right? But I think you should think about selling some of your Sahara if you're in it, if this thing gets up to like 13 cents. because that is a normal retracement level. The golden pocket is what they call it at 618 retracement. And I think you'll be fine and dandy being up 50% on your Sahara there. Okay, there's no guarantees that you're gonna go higher prices, but you could see higher prices, and you could see it get back up to like 16 cents here, 17 cents maybe. And then there is a possibility that you could see the 1272 at 19 cents and the 1618 at 22 cents here. But those are all possibilities, no guarantees. More likely, the higher probability is that you go up to 13 cents, and I think that should be a good level to sell some of this asset if you're short-term trading or swing trading this. But if you're in it for the long haul, then yeah, maybe you could push this thing up to like 16, 17 cents and you double your money. All right, so that's Sahara. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Vine. All right, so now we're looking at Vine, currently trading at 6.5 cents, down 6.79% today. And wow, this thing also had a crazy run up. I think this happened back in July when Bitcoin was going up to like $123,000 for the first time. Some of these altcoins caught some bids there during those good weeks that we had in July. This thing has been trading on Binance Exchange since like February of 2020, January of 2025. So we have a good enough amount of data where we're actually starting to get some moving averages starting to show up here. You got the white line is your 21 EMA, the red line is your 200-day, the blue line is your 100-day, and the green line is your 50-day moving average. Those are starting to show up on the charts here. I think most traders will probably be eyeballing that 50-day moving average below us at 0.049 pennies, basically 5 pennies. Could be a good area of support for Vine if it does come down to that level. Even more support below that at the 100-day, sitting at about 4.5 cents. That should be another good area to buy Vine if you're able and lucky enough to get some at that price. Now I'll do a Fibonacci for you. Measuring from the top here down to the bottom here. And top to bottom, you got a 0.236 retracement at 7 cents. So this is probably where we've been trading at for Vine, because it is a 0.226 retracement here. Okay, if we were to start catching some bids here on Vine, then maybe the 0.382 retracement at 9 cents could act as resistance. I think that's also confluent with this candlewick top here back on May 12th. Earlier this year, we saw us get up to like 9 cents. So I think if you're day trading this, right, or even like swing trading this, you should be targeting 9 cents as a take profit target. I'll put that as a TP1, take profit target 1 for Vine. And then if we're able to go up to higher prices, the normal retracement should bring us back to about the golden pocket here at 12.5 cents, 13 cents. That's your 618.65 retracement. So I'll mark that off as your second take profit target is going to be like right here, 13 cents. Okay, and 13 cents is an area that you should consider selling, because you're going to basically double your money if it does get up to 13 cents. So if you're in this asset right now, or if you're buying it today at 6.5 cents, when this thing gets to 13 cents, you basically doubled your money. And I'm not going to tell you guys, what to do with your money, but if it was my money, I would sell half and keep the rest of it in there in case it does go up to higher prices. But if you double your money and you sell half, you're basically getting your money back, and then the rest is just free money. Free coins in that asset that you're in. All right, I got a question here from Simon on YouTube. Is saying, so the flipping talked about 5 years is possible again, maybe. I don't know if Ethereum's gonna flip Bitcoin, as some people call it, the flipping. But I think Ethereum is gonna try to catch up to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's been making new all-time highs like ever since last year going into this year, and Ethereum hasn't done that. But I think now Ethereum is going to be like a catch-up trade where some people are going to start putting their money into Ethereum again, or maybe for the very first time, because Ethereum is, what is it? Let's take a look at Ethereum for market cap here on CoinMarketCap. It's about a 558 billion. There's almost $600 billion in Ethereum, so it's a high market cap coin. The big boys can put their money to work in Ethereum now that it's at this price and at this market cap, and it's not going to cause too big of a splash when they buy or if they sell their Ethereum. So I think that's what justified that Bitcoin investor to become an Ethereum a whale. He went from Bitcoin to Ethereum yesterday, and he sold about $500 million of his Bitcoin to get into Ethereum. And I think you're gonna see more of that with Ethereum. But for Ethereum to flip Bitcoin, Ethereum would have to do a 5x, and Bitcoin would have to do nothing. Like, Bitcoin has to stay where it's at, maybe even go lower for Ethereum to catch up, and Ethereum has to 5x from where it is. Ethereum would have to be a $20,000 coin for it to flip Bitcoin, and I just don't know if that's possible. You would have to probably see money leave Bitcoin going to Ethereum, and then probably even see money leaving XRP and Solana and some of these other coins here and go into Ethereum in order for Ethereum to do that. And I just don't think that's highly likely. And then of course you have to see all the new people just go into Ethereum and totally forget about XRP and Solana and Bitcoin. We have a question here. What do I think Bitcoin's gonna do next month? I think Bitcoin's gonna be at higher prices than where it is right now. They're talking about lowering interest rates for next month. I think that's going to be a boom for Bitcoin to go to higher prices. Maybe we might see $130,000 Bitcoin in September. Right now, we're having a little bit hard time going up to higher prices, even though they said that they might be lowering interest rates in September. We're getting some seasonality right now where people are selling their cryptocurrencies and their stocks. The stock market is also having a bad day today too. But they're selling their Bitcoin and crypto and stocks, and I think they call it seasonality, but I call it around this time, people are selling their stocks and crypto to go pay their college kids' tuition bills. They don't really have a good reason, and that's my good reason for why we have seasonality in like September and the end of August. Alright, so let's go back to Vine here. Yeah, let me see. We have Vine, like I said, 6.5 cents. I think 13 cents should be a target. I'm not sure if we'll get back up to the highs here in July at 18 cents, but if you get up to 18 cents, that's also a nice target as well. That'd be basically a triple from where you are right now. But yeah, Vine, upside targets, we're looking for 9 cents, most likely to hit. Then 12 to 13 cents is probably most likely to hit as well. Downside target, you could get some cheaper Vine at like 5 cents here. Maybe even 4.5 cents, which is where the moving averages could provide some support at that level. Alright, let's see what we got here for some more comments here. We have a guy here, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but you're saying Bitcoin will go to $90,000 next month. And then there's a CME gap at 93,000, must be filled. Okay, CME gaps are a thing, but there's no guarantee that they're going to get filled. They don't have to be filled. All right, we skipped over gaps in the past. There's still a $9,000 CME gap that hasn't been filled since 2020, like 5 years ago. So there's no guarantee that gaps need to be filled. But let's take a look at the Bitcoin again. Take a look at the CME. Bitcoin futures. So you said there's a gap at 93,000. I'm assuming you're talking about this gap here back on April 22nd here, okay, where we saw a Bitcoin close out at $91,000, and then the following day it opened up at $93,000. So yeah, I see your $93,000 gap. But hey, you know what? Ever since then, you could be like, oh, the gap needs to get filled. Gap needs to get filled. In the meantime, here comes May. Gap doesn't get filled. Here comes June. Gap doesn't get filled. Here comes July. Gap still doesn't get filled. Here comes August. And we're still haven't filled that gap on the CME futures here. Okay, so you can keep on waiting. In the meantime, Bitcoin's going up to higher prices. And we do have some support for Bitcoin before it even goes down to those prices here. Just looking at the 50 moving average, right, is a moving average that the futures traders are looking at. That's sitting at $105,000 Bitcoin. Okay, $105,000 Bitcoin is a good support area, because you also have people that bought here Bitcoin back in like June going into July, and they bought it at $104,000, $105,000 Bitcoin. And they're not going to click the sell button until Bitcoin actually goes below that. So there's going to be less selling pressure at $104,000, $105,000 Bitcoin. If anything, this is an area where people probably buy Bitcoin thinking that they're getting it relatively cheaper than where we're at $112,000, $120,000 Bitcoin. So you got a lot of support. You got to break through all this support here to get down to $93,000 on Bitcoin. You have to break the 50, you have to break the 100, you have to break the 200. And I'm not sure what the reason would be why it would have to break all that support. You're going to have to probably see maybe World War III start for people to start panicking and selling their Bitcoin and actually breaking down below these support levels here to actually push it down to 93K. So I wouldn't really hold your breath waiting for $93,000 Bitcoin. Alright, volume, low pump fake. If it goes 123K, adding more shorts. Okay, yeah, well that's a good area to try to short, is around 123K. That's the all-time high, right? Near the all-time high. All-time high is actually $124,000 Bitcoin, but I get what you mean by that, yeah. But you would have to break through all those support at 100,000, 105,000. And then you also got psychological target, like some people are still buying Bitcoin right now because they think it's going to go to $200,000. So if they see Bitcoin at $100,000 or like $95,000, they're going to click the buy button to get into Bitcoin at what they think is cheap Bitcoin below 100K. So I'm not sure if we're able to push it down to that level at $93,000. We could get $104,000, but then even then, some people will be like, $104,000, I'll buy now, and then I'll sell it $200,000 Bitcoin. You know, I have a buddy of mine, a friend of mine, he's in real estate, and he's going to sell, well, he's not going to sell, but he's going to take out a home equity line of credit to buy Bitcoin right now, and he plans on holding it for like 5 or 10 years. So he's buying Bitcoin at $112,000 right now, because he plans on selling his Bitcoin at $1 million 5 to 10 years from now. So yeah, I don't know. First down, then up. Well, if you got the crystal ball, then just keep short selling, and you know if you're that right, then what do you need to be on this live stream here for? If you know it's gonna go down like that, just do what you're gonna do and sell everything, short sell it, see how it goes. But you might just end up being liquidity for us to go to higher prices here with your short sells. So good luck to you. I think you should be targeting $104,000 Bitcoin, not $93,000 for your take profit target on your short. Okay, that's a more likely area. Let me go back into the Bitcoin chart again, and I'll show you why I think $104,000 makes a lot more sense than $93,000. Okay, you do have a the Fibonacci here measuring from $98,000 all the way up to like the high of $124,500. You have a 0.236 retracement at $104,500. Okay, that could be a deep retracement where Bitcoin might actually come down to that level. And then you also got the 100-day moving average sitting at $104,700. I think that $104,000 is a target that you should be targeting. $93,000 seems to be a bit of a stretch. Okay. You also have the 200-day moving average at 200-day moving average at $100,872 Bitcoin. You know, for those who are trying to buy Bitcoin and get it for really cheap, they're gonna buy their Bitcoin at $100,000 level here. So you got a lot of support. Yeah, you have to break through before you can even get down to $94,000. And then you also got like right over here, you got some traders that were buying at like $95,000 and $96,000 Bitcoin. You got a little bit of sideways trading action in that zone there. So you might not even get $93,000. Okay. Anyways, that's my opinion. I don't think Bitcoin's going down to $90,000. I would not hold my breath. You got too much support below you at higher prices than $93,000. All right, but yeah, I get it. You know, it's a target. It's a long stretch. You know, I think going down to $93,000 anytime soon here is like saying that Bitcoin's going to go to like $300,000 or $250,000. All right, we're still working with the levels and the Fibonacci here. You know, for the upside targets on Bitcoin, you know, I'm targeting $131,000 Bitcoin. That's your 1272 Fib extension, and then $140,000 Bitcoin to the upside. I don't think it's too far of a stretch, okay, for Bitcoin to do that. You do got a 2618 at 166,000, and you got a 3618 on 193,000. So even I don't know, and I'm not gonna say for sure that Bitcoin can get up to 200 grand, okay? But there is a 3618 that says 193 grand, and that makes sense to me that Bitcoin could go to 193 grand and not actually hit 200 grand on the upside, because there's gonna be some people who are gonna front run $200,000 Bitcoin, and some people aren't sure, like myself here, if Bitcoin can even get to $200,000 by the end of this year or the end of the cycle here. So it wouldn't be surprising to see that there might be some sell pressure at $190,000 Bitcoin on the upside here, if Bitcoin does go to the upside and goes up to those higher prices here. $200,000 just, it seems too easy of a target, and it's just a psychological number. The Fibonacci is saying that there might be some resistance at $190,000 Bitcoin, and I would be selling my Bitcoin at $190,000 because I would just be happy that I actually was able to sell it at that level, considering what we've done over the last few years and few months here. I think $190,000 Bitcoin is a possibility here, and you would be lucky if you get Bitcoin to get up to that price. Now, since we're talking about like far side upside targets here and end of the cycle, what the all-time high of Bitcoin might possibly be, let's go ahead and put another indicator here that could tell us how high Bitcoin could get before it tops out, and that's the Pi Cycle Top indicator. On the daily time frame, the Pi Cycle Top indicator is saying that if Bitcoin gets up to this green line here at $187,000, that could be where Bitcoin tops out at. So I still think $180,000, $190,000 Bitcoin is still a possibility here, because you would need the price literally to go to that $180,000, $190,000 level right now, like literally like today, before I would say, yeah, Bitcoin's topping out. I don't think we're done going up to higher prices yet on Bitcoin. It's basically what I'm trying to tell you in this. Making a long story short here. Ben Suru wants to look at SoFi and Brett. Okay. I still haven't looked at Solana yet, or XRP. But I appreciate that request. We'll take a look at the SoFi, and then I'm going to look at Solana, and then we'll go back to Brett, and then I'll look at XRP. How about that? We'll do it like that. So we'll do SoFi, Solana. Then we'll do Brett. And then we'll do XRP after that. Yep. Okay. Yeah, let me go ahead and get rid of that bicycle top indicator now that we don't. That bicycle top indicator only works for Bitcoin. None of these other assets here, and you got to do it on the daily time frame. But yeah, you can pull up on TradingView to find out, what the bicycle top indicator is doing. Let's take a look at SoFi. I believe that's a stock, right? Trading on the Nasdaq, SoFi Technologies. It's like a bank that works with technology companies. All right, here we are. We're looking at SoFi, currently trading at $26.04, up 4% today. It's actually having a good day, while some of these other assets are not having good days here. But with it being a bank, I mean, it seems like the banks always win, whether things go up or down, right? And right now, I'm just looking at SoFi Technologies. Ooh, looks like I have some previous chart work here. We were in a rising wedge here on SoFi back here in April, May, and June, and we actually broke out to the upside out of that rising wedge. Usually, rising wedge, you break to the downside. So good to see that SoFi was able to do that. And you're pretty far away from the moving averages. You only got the 21 EMA as possible. I would be playing off the 21 EMA for now. SoFi could, if it does lose this momentum and comes down to lower prices here, we could see SoFi go down to like $22.80, which is where your 21 EMA is sitting at, that white line. And if you lose that, then I think you're losing the bullish uptrend that you're in on SoFi, and then you could possibly come down to the moving averages below you. The 50 days sitting at $16.55 here. All right. Dean Harney, you asking about Concentric? Is that a crypto or a stock? I'll write that down for now. I don't even know if that is that a request, Concentric. But yeah, tell me if that's a crypto or a stock, and we'll take a look at the chart for you. Appreciate the request there. But yeah, going back to SoFi, keep maintaining this uptrend. I think you'll be doing quite fine here. Let me zoom out. Has this stock been this high before? It kind of did, yeah. Back in 2021, we saw this thing trading at $26.97. Let me just zoom in a little bit. Back in 2021, you got up as high as $28.26. And you never been higher than that. So the all-time high is $28. I feel like I should probably mark that off here. $28. That's your all-time high there. I'll just put in ATH to remind me that that is the all-time high. So you're kind of gunning for that level there. Now let me go ahead and I'll do a Fibonacci analysis here as best as I can. But yeah, let's see. I mean, I could measure from here to here. I'm just going to measure from the high here back on July 28th. That was the swing high. And then you got your swing low kind of like down here. So I'll go from there to there. Alright, so clearly you have hit your levels here, and to the upside you got a 1272 fib extension that says, yeah, $28.51, which is the previous all-time high. You should be thinking about selling your SoFi at that level, okay? But if you're able to stay with it for longer term than that, you might be able to push this thing up to the 1618 at $32.75, and then even maybe later on in the future you might see the 2618 at $44 for SoFi. Wow, okay, almost like a double in price from where you are right now. But yeah, if SoFi does get rejected for whatever reason, or if we come up to the all-time high and then come down to lower prices, and we break past below $25 here, you got the 786 retracement could act as support at $22.56. More likely, the 618 golden pocket at $20.51 is a good support zone for SoFi. Let me just turn the music down here a little bit. It's getting a little bit loud on my end. Let me just double check the music here one more time. Yeah, I'm gonna turn it down a little bit there. All right. But yeah, I think that's your downside target, $20.50 for SoFi. You might even get support at the $22 level here, and an upside target, $28.50, and then $32.75. All right, moving on from SoFi, let's take a look at the Solana. Back to crypto again. And if you're enjoying the analysis, don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't already. If you're enjoying my technical analysis here, and the live stream, and the music here, don't forget to hit that like button. I'm gonna just ask that one more time for you guys that are watching the stream here. And for my YouTube guys, let's see if we get the amount of likes to match the amount of people that are watching. Yep. All right. So I'm now looking at Solana, currently trading at $196.60. Down 4.5% today. Looking at the daily time frame here. Solana is above all its moving averages, so that's good to see. That's how you know you're in a bullish trend here for Solana. I do have us in a big Fibonacci. I'll zoom out eventually to show you the Fibonacci levels here, but Solana is doing what it needs to do to remain bullish here. We have a high here in July when we saw Solana at $206, but then we have a higher high here on August 14th. We got up to $210, and then we have another higher high here at $213.49. We saw that earlier today. Probably, I think that was like last night when Solana was trading at that price. So Solana is doing what it needs to do to convince the traders and investors out there that it's in an uptrend. You're doing higher highs, which is good to see, and you're also doing higher lows. Obviously, you would need to do higher lows to get up to those higher highs. But yeah, I like what I'm seeing here with Solana. I do have a yellow line here that is an uptrend that we need to maintain just to remain bullish here on Solana. I know I got a lot of rainbow colors here looking, but for those who are able to follow me here, you know, we do have a uptrend that we started back in June 22nd. We came down and tested that uptrend here on August 2nd. We almost came down and tried to test it here in August, but we didn't. And now it's getting just a little bit too bullish for us to actually come down to this uptrend here. I'm liking what I'm seeing here with Solana so far. It's one of my biggest asset holdings in crypto. So I'm glad to see this, definitely. And as Solana continues going to the upside here, we do have the golden pocket, that 618 at $219, and then we have the golden pocket level, $225 is your 0.65 retracement level for Solana. And if I zoom out, you'll see, yeah, these are the numbers here on the Fibonacci. You know, I measured from $295 on January down to the low here at $95, and I think this is some very important levels for us to pay attention to with this Fibonacci here. Okay, but also you can see here with Solana that we do have a 0.5 retracement here at $195 is what is acting as resistance right now, and we've been trying to get above that 0.5 retracement, but we've also been using it as support as well. So it's good to see that we are using it as support for today. If we lose that support, we could come down, you know, and test that 0.32 retracement at $171 here for Solana. Okay, and we threatened to come down to that level a couple of times already here in the last couple of weeks, but we haven't. But yeah, if we were to come down and lose the lows here back in August 10th and August 20th, I think, you know, this is like X marks the spot. I think $171 should act as support for Solana going forward if we do go down to those prices here. Your moving averages are also below you at $166 is where the 50-day moving average could act as support, and then you got the 100 and 200 at $158. So there's some support below us on Solana if Solana does decide to go down to lower prices here. All right, and those are your downside targets. Upside target, we're still targeting the $220 level here for Solana, and then we're gonna see how Solana handles itself. If it can get back up to $253, that could act as a good resistance level where you got some sideways trading action back here in January, and also here in like November of last year. Some people might want to click the sell button when Solana gets up to 250 bucks here. So that's going to be the next target if Solana can get past 220 bucks. All right, let's see. Moving on from Solana, we'll take a look at Brett. All right. Here we got Brett currently trading at 5 cents, down 10.36% today. I'm just zooming in on the chart now on the daily time frame. We did have a downtrend that we were contending up against that we were trying to get out of on Brett. It looks like that downtrend is still in play here. I might even have to readjust the lines here because it looks more like this is now looking like the downtrend here for Brett. Okay. And now, downtrend is pushing us down. And how much low could we go? Well, we got the 200-day moving average, that red line, sitting at 0.048 pennies here for Brett. Which is, you're not too far off from that level here. You might be able to scoop up some cheaper Brett at that level there, that 200-day moving average. And you still are kind of making higher lows here in the daily time frame. So maybe this is as low as Brett goes, or maybe it goes down to that 200-day moving average. But you could strategically place your stop loss right below the lows here on Friday, where we did see Brett as low as 0.046 pennies. You can put your stop loss there if you're day trading it. You can make it even looser if you're swing trading it and put it below the low here on August 2nd at like 0.045 pennies. And just determine how much risk you want to take. But I think, if you lose 4.5 pennies here on Brett, then this thing is still in the downtrend, obviously, and it probably wants to go to lower prices here. And, maybe we might have to see it come down to where we were trading at back here in June when we saw Brett at like 4 pennies. Okay, so I think, yeah, you need to hold 4.5 pennies. If not, you come down to 4 pennies on Brett. But I'm eventually going to try to make a bullish case here for Brett if I can. I just think Brett has a lot of work to do. Stay above the 200-day moving average. That would be one way to start, building up a bullish case here. Because if you don't lose the 200-day moving average, then you're actually going to probably make a higher low here. And then eventually you want to see yourself make a higher high and get it past the highs here back in July when you saw this thing as high as like 0.066 pennies. Do that, and then you start building up the bullish case to go to higher prices for Brett. Okay. But I think, as far as Brett goes, I'm gonna try to draw a Fibonacci here from like the high here down to the low. And now you got some levels to work with here. It looks like we are hanging out near the 0.382 retracement at roughly 5 pennies here. But you got the 0.236 at 4 pennies that could act as support. And then going forward, higher prices on Brett, I think, yeah, 6.5 pennies to like 7 pennies. Alright, well, it says 0.066 pennies and 0.068, but that golden pocket level is a level that you're targeting, which is confluent with what you were trading at back here in May. So that is your upside target, your first take profit target, and then your second take profit target is going to be that 0.76 retracement at 7 pennies, almost 8 pennies. It's like that 0.077 penny level. I think that should be another take profit target for Brett as you start working your way back up to higher prices. We'll see how Brett handles himself at 0.077 pennies, and then the next target after that's going to be your 9-cent level here for Brett, which is the level that you were at back in May that you got to try to recapture and reclaim if you're going to say that you're actually bullish on this asset. Let's see if you can get past that level, okay, for Brett. All right, moving on from Brett, let's take a look at XRP. And then I got a request here from Camera Guy. He wants to look at Flock. And then I got a request for Sigma. All right. Thank you for the requests, and thank you for the like. All right. Now let's go ahead and take a look at XRP. XRP currently trading at $2.96, down 2% today. XRP still fighting and contending up against this 618 pocket here, this golden pocket level between $3 and $3.04. It's also a psychological level for a lot of XRP investors and traders out there. But if we do lose $3, it seems like the 0.5 retracement at $2.78 is acting as support as of now. Okay. You could buy some cheaper XRP and maybe even be catching, the higher low here for XRP if you're able to get XRP for like $2.80 roughly. You don't have any moving averages supporting that level, but you have moving averages that are supporting, like you have the 50-day moving average supporting about roughly $2.57 is your 0.32 retracement, and it's also kind of like where the 50-day moving average is at $2.63. That's another downside target, which although it would hurt, there is some support over that at that level. There's no guarantee that we actually go down to that level, but if we do, I expect buyers start to show up at that price range there. Okay. Now, if XRP can go up to higher prices, right, then we are probably going to get some resistance at that 0.786 retracement at $3.28. That is the level that acted as resistance back in the beginning of August here. Okay, that could act as resistance again going forward. You might have to reject it, come back to the 618 again, and then try to go to higher prices. And then if we are able to go to higher prices, we will have to see if XRP can reclaim the high for the year at $3.66 on July 18th. And then if it's able to do that in a convincing fashion, then maybe we might see a $4 XRP. That's that 1272 fib extension level there, and maybe even a $4.74 XRP, which is your 1618. Okay, but yeah, that's upside downside targets on XRP. And if you guys are enjoying this analysis here, don't forget to like the video, and also if you're new to the Meet Damien channel here, go and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. All right, moving on from XRP, we'll take a look at Flock and then Sigma. Now, Flock, is that a crypto? I just want to double check here. I think I see it here. Looks like it's trading on Mexi as well. So I got Flock crypto here, currently trading at 44 cents, and it's up 42% today. So I guess that's one reason why. You want to take a look at it. All right, I get it. It's up 42% today, doing some things here. Okay. And I'm just trying to become familiar with this crypto here. Looks like it started trading on Mexi Exchange back in January earlier this year. This thing was as high as like 82 cents. 95 cents. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, so it has seen higher prices. So I'm just gonna measure. I'm gonna measure a Fibonacci here from the high here at like 40 cents down to the low here at like 16 cents. See what the Fibonacci has to say about things here. So it looks like you already hit your 1272 Fib extension here at 46 cents. See, we came up to 48 cents here today on Flock. You do got a 1618. If this thing continues to remain bullish here, you got a 55 cent target here. That's your 1618 Fib extension. So I probably marked out on the chart there 55 cents. All the traders and investors are probably gonna look at that, and they might hit the sell button when it gets to that level there. And then going forward, you do got a 2618 at 80 cents, roughly 79 cents here, which is kind of confluent with what you were doing back here in January, earlier this year, at like 80 cents. And I think 80 cents is a good area to sell because you're basically doubling whatever you have in this asset here. You're doubling in price again, and I would click sell if it was me, and I doubled my asset here. All right, but yeah, going back to a Flock here, if we come down to lower prices here for any reason, the 786 retracement could act as support at 34 cents here, 35 cents in that blue zone here, and then the most likely support area would be 30 cents. You got all your moving averages below you, so this thing is clearly overbought, most likely. Let me look at the RSI here. Yeah, RSI overbought at 80, so this thing needs to kind of like chill out for a little bit. Wouldn't surprise me if we start going down in price. I think the most you can hope for is just going sideways at best. I think the move has been made here, and you just gotta wait for things to cool down a little bit on this cryptocurrency here. But maybe you might be looking for a short, and if you are looking for a short, you know, you can put your stop loss right above the candlewick high here at 48 cents. And try to short this thing back down to possibly, well, if you're day trading it for today, maybe see if you can bring it down to 40 cents. That's like a 10% move down from where you are right now. And then maybe you could try to stay in it if you still want to short it again and do like a swing trade on your short. Maybe see if you could take this down to like 34, 35 cents. I think that'd be a good area to try to target for a short if you're looking for some short trading targets here. Let me see. I'm looking for info here. I just want to double check. Yeah, if you go from 44 down to 40, that's a 10% move right there. And then going from where we are right now, if you're shorting it down to 34 cents, that's about a 21% move from where we are right now. Slap on some 10x leverage, that's about a 210% move. Interesting. I don't know what this cryptocurrency does, but maybe it might be worth taking a short. All right, moving on from Flock, we'll take a look at Sigma. And I'm assuming that's yeah, it's crypto as well. Looks like it's trading at Kraken Exchange. And this is a meme coin, right? It's gotta be a meme coin because I think I see the guy from American Psycho as the the face of the coin. But it's supposed to be like a play on Sigma males, right? Sigma males supposed to be somewhat better than alpha males, a little bit more refined than a alpha male. Because an alpha male could be like a big guy, large in charge, beats his chest, maybe like a muscle head or whatever. But a Sigma male is like somebody that knows they're top and elite, but they don't have to shout it to anybody. Like people just know that they're Sigma. And they conduct themselves accordingly without having to challenge other alpha males in the room. Anyways, going back to Sigma here, we'll taking a look at Sigma, down 10.7% today, and trading at about 1 penny roughly. Looking at the daily chart for Sigma, this thing has seen higher prices, like a lot of other altcoins and meme coins. His best days was in January when this thing was trading at almost like 6 pennies. Yeah, like kind of like a little pump and dump, like scam wick here on June 12th when this thing got up to like 4.5 pennies here. But I mean, what can I make of this? You know, the lows for the year looks like was back here in March. This thing got as low as 0.00812 pennies. So don't go lower than that, I guess. Okay. So, you know, this thing could go lower, and you don't want to go lower than this red line here at 835, because there's clearly something wrong with this coin if it's not able to stay above that level. But if we are able to cast some bids, there are some moving averages that could act as a resistance right now. I think the moving average that people will probably pay attention to, because it's been on the chart for a while now, is that 50-day moving average, the green line. That's sitting at like 0.018 pennies. So I'd probably target that as a take profit target at that level there. And I just think you're range bound, because you've been range bound, but you're playing off of like 1 penny up to like almost 2 pennies here. But you've been in this steep downtrend. You got almost like a falling wedge going on here, where those are your lows, you know, your lower lows here. And then of course you got your lower highs here. Now the good thing about a falling wedge is that it usually breaks out to the upside most of the time here. So this is a bullish pattern to be seeing here. You're just waiting for it to break out to the upside, and it could break out to the upside and come up to like, you know, almost 2 pennies. But it could do something like weak sauce. It could be very weak and just go sideways and still break out by going sideways here, okay? So that's something to keep in mind here with Sigma coin. I don't want to do Fibonacci, because I don't think I can really do anything that makes sense here with Fibonacci, but I can do a VRVP to see what the levels might look like here with the VRVP indicator, and that's that green and red indicator to the right. You got your greens is your buys, your reds are your sells, and the more buys and sells at a particular price, you get your high volume node here. And the highest volume node is this blue line at roughly about almost 2 pennies, 0.0195 pennies. That's going to be, at this point, a resistance here because you're below it. It's going to be hard to get past 2 pennies, in my opinion, on this asset here. But right now, for you to climb up there, right, you got to get past 0.0127 pennies here. Then you got a gap in the VRVP, and then you got a little bit of volume. You got a high volume node here at like 0.016 pennies. That could be another resistance area. And then if you get past that, then you don't get much resistance until you get up to that 0.019 penny level here. Okay, so a little bit of resistance at a penny and a half, and you got some support below you. That white line at roughly where you're at right now, actually no, the white line is actually above you, so you're actually below the value area low. That white line is the value area low. Oof, I don't know, this is I mean, it's looking bleak, but if you're getting in this for the first time, this could be you scooping up the lows on Sigma coin here, and you just put your stop loss, right? If you're gonna buy right now, put your stop loss below this candlewick low that you had today at like 1 penny. Yeah, just put your stop loss at 1 penny, or just below 1 penny, like 0.099 pennies or whatever. But if you're not able to maintain 1 penny, then there's something clearly wrong with this meme coin, this crypto, and you probably don't want to stick around to find out. But if your stop loss doesn't hit, and you buy here and we go up to higher prices, then yeah, I mean, the risk reward ratio is pretty good, I think. Let me just quickly do a long position. We'll measure it out. We are right here, and we'll put the stop loss. We said 1 penny, right? Or right here. So you got your stop loss right there, and you're targeting Uh, about almost 2 pennies here, 0.018. Let's say 0.018 pennies right here. And you got a risk reward ratio of like 6. That's pretty good. And you'll be going up 66%. You put a 10x leverage on that, you'll be up 660% on your Sigma coin trade over here. Interesting. Interesting. I think the risk reward ratio makes a lot of sense here on this coin. Let's see what the oscillator is looking like before I start falling in love with this possible long trade here. RSI is at 30. Okay, so it's like near bearish control territory, about to be anything lower than 30 is considered oversold, so maybe it is getting close to being oversold here. And then the MACD is looking like weak sauce. You got some red candles here, but it's not strong selling pressure. Your strongest selling pressure was back here in the beginning of August and last week of July. And then what do we got here? Market cipher B, you had a red dot here on August 14th, but the beautiful part about getting a red dot is the next dot will be a green buy dot. Maybe you're waiting for that green buy dot to show up here. It could happen today, tomorrow, later on this week, but at some point this thing will start catching some bids again, and you'll see that green buy dot showing you that, yeah, when you see a green buy dot show up on the daily time frame, usually you get a good few days, like maybe the next 3 or 4 days you'll get rewarded for buying the asset when you see that green dot show up. And stochastic RSI is pretty low. So I think it's worth taking a shot at this one, throwing your hat in the ring. And your stop loss about a penny. And if you lose a penny, then you're not really losing much, because you're pretty much already at 1 penny right now on this asset. Could be worth it. Salva Cruz is saying some Spanish here. I know un poquito español, but pero not much. Not much español for me. I know enough to order a cerveza and a hamburguesa, a beer and a hamburger. So I know how to order food, and that's pretty much it for my Spanish. I know enough to hit on a girl in Spanish and then get myself in trouble maybe, and that's about it. So I think that's going to be it for this live stream. We've been live for about a couple hours, I believe, almost 2 hours now, and that's all you're usually going to get out of me is a 2-hour live stream here. Sigma does look interesting. Could be worth taking a shot at. You already got your falling wedge, which is bullish. Your stochastic RSI is low. RSI is low. You've gotten beaten down. Maybe you'll cast some bids in the next few days and a couple of weeks here for Sigma coin. All right. Okay, guys. Let's go back to Bitcoin one more time, see how Bitcoin's doing, and then we'll be out of here. Bitcoin having a rough day, but these other altcoins are having even rougher days. I see AVAX down 7%, and SUI down 6%. So yeah, it's a little bit rough out there, even though Bitcoin's only down less than 1%. If Bitcoin does continue to go down further, it's not going to go down to $93,000 anytime soon, because it's got a lot of support. First support zone is this 0.32 retracement at $108,000. That could be that's your previous all-time highs from earlier in this year. Could act as support. Then you got the 0.236 retracement at $104,000, which is also with a 100-day moving average. That could act as support. And then last but not least, you got the 200-day moving average sitting at $100,800. That could be the last line of defense for Bitcoin before it does finally go down to $90,000. If it is going to go down to $90,000, it's got to break through all the support here between $100,000 and $108,000. And if Bitcoin does cash some bids, and if this is the lows for the week, then maybe we could see Bitcoin get back to the golden retracement at $115,000. Would be even nicer to see it get up to like 118,900, which is your 786 retracement. And then of course, even nicer would be new all-time highs, which would, you have to get above $124,500 for Bitcoin. And then I think, especially if they're going to lower interest rates next month in September, we'll see $130,000 Bitcoin, which is your 1272 fib extension. And that's going to be it for the stream here, guys. Good luck trading in whatever asset you decide to get into, and don't forget to check out Meet Damien on TikTok. All right, I do have you know, about a few thousand subscribers here, 5,200. I'm trying to get up to 10,000 subscribers here. I can see that I already got some people following me. Appreciate you guys hitting that follow button here. And yeah, my short form content is on TikTok right here. You can check out some of my other videos here. I know some people asked about the VRVP indicator. I have a video here about the VRVP. It's got like 1,400 views here. Might want to take a look at that one. Okay. And then as far as YouTube goes, don't forget to check out the Meet Damien YouTube channel here. Okay, where you'll get all of my content, and you'll see me go live. I am live right now on YouTube and TikTok. There I am. You know, there's my video for today, and yeah, I got all the videos here. And then yeah, you can click on videos and you'll see some of my tutorial videos on like how to use the Fibonacci tool on TradingView, how to use the volume range visual profile indicators there, even how to just read a candlestick chart and how to like read the indicators like the RSI, MACD. I have that on there as well. You guys might want to check out some of this content that I got, some of this good content that I got on technical analysis and crypto. And I'm trying to do some more stock market videos here, but it seems like crypto keeps me busy as is, and it seems like the cool kids are in crypto right now. So I will continue talking about crypto, but I'll also try to do some stocks here. Maybe I'll talk about NVIDIA on Wednesday. Try to do a video on that one. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for this live stream. Don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't, and follow me if you're new to the channel. And I'll see you on the next live stream. We'll try to go live again same time tomorrow. If not, maybe later on in the afternoon. If you don't see me between 12 to 2 p.m. Eastern time, you usually catch me between like 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern time, somewhere around there. Okay? All right, guys, take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.